Hi, I'm McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, we are going to unpack some real breakup stories that have come in, and I want to talk to you about the importance of your breakup story, how you write it, how you present it, and verse just asking questions, just asking, how do I get my ex back, or what do I do in this situation? So that's what we're going to unpack today. I will have some actual stories that have been sent in, that have been written well and more detailed, and the actual benefit of that. So if you like this video, throw me a like. If you don't like it, please have an opinion and not like it. In the comments down below, please feel free to share any of your takes on the stories I talk about. But if you have a story you want to share, please go to writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com. Send your story in, and we could link you up with myself or another breakup coach. And understand that's where it starts, in getting help with your breakup, getting really, really clear on the story you're telling about your breakup. It's not just the problem you have. Okay, I'm going to talk about that more today. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please press the red button and you'll be updated on all the live streams. If you want to join my Instagram is Coach Mac McCarthy, same as the YouTube channel. And I will be posting schedules of the live streams and pictures of where I live in Phuket, Thailand, which, if that's something that interests you, cool. So let's get into the topic. I'm actually 3 minutes early today. I'm a bit anxious. I thought this was a fun topic. Better to be early than late, right? Philip Carlson, how you doing, buddy? Roller Girl, welcome. Thanks for coming on deck. This will be a good one. So, at the premise of my breakup coaching career at this point, 3+ years in, and having helped a lot of people. And if you're wondering, well, how many people have you helped? Just go to my YouTube channel and look at how many videos have been made with stories. And I believe I have over 800 videos at this point. I believe about 400 to 500 are stories that were sent in. And then we have where I do live coaching sessions. Those stories aren't shared on the channel. So I'm getting up near 1,000. Okay. So your story counts. Why? Because it's your interpretation of the events. Correct me if I'm wrong. One of the reasons you broke up, what's up, Johnny? One of the reasons you broke up is because the story that you have about what's right and what's wrong in your relationship, and the story that your partner has of what's right and wrong in the relationship, doesn't match up. Right? So they're going to tell the story of their view of the breakup. You're going to tell your story. It's usually going to be really different. So when you come to me and you ask me some simple question like, will my ex come back? They left last week. If someone answers that question for you, it's a shot in the wind. It's pissing in the wind. I mean, I need information about what happened, where you're coming from, and the more information, the more details I have, the better take I can give you. And I call it a tailored take. So, someone can go, oh, we were in long distance for 2 months, and then she got a new job and she stopped calling me, and now I'm wondering, does she miss me? It's like, that's not enough information. I need to know what led up to the break, what led up to the move, where you guys met, how the relationships, all these things count. And the value is writing out the story actually gives you the time. And this is the problem actually that I've come across. People are in such a hurry. It's such a text eccentric society in the world. I won't just say in any region or area of the world, that people just want to quick hit everything. Oh, my ex left me. I'm a mess. I miss them so much. How do I get them back? Good luck with that question. Like, someone sends me that and I just kind of cringe. I'm like, what am I going to do with that? You know what I mean? I have no idea what happened in your relationship. I have no idea what transpired. I don't know where you're coming from. How can I give you advice? Right? And this is what happens. I just talked to someone in a live coaching session. The guy goes, it was funny because my website's been under repair, reconstruction. Basically, it's a whole new website. And so there's some things that we're ironing out and we're working on. And so it was under construction completely. So for about 2 or 3 days, you couldn't even go to the website. So this is a past client of mine. He goes, look, I thought you maybe quit or something. So he sends me this email telling me, man, you're a great coach. You shouldn't have quit. I said, no, I didn't quit. It's just under construction. But he goes, I have to admit, I've gone to other people before I met you or went to your channel on your website. And he goes, a lot of people give surface information. And he goes, it's just not, it seems like it's very canned responses to breakup questions. And the reason people get that is because they ask very canned questions. For example, will my ex come back? Will they call me again? I don't know. I need to know more information, right? So you get what you put out, right? So today I do have some stories that are real breakup stories, that are longer breakup stories. And honestly, thank you for the like. And honestly, the longer the story, the more details, the more I can help you. And exactly what I do in a live coaching session the first time. If we talk numerous times, I obviously won't go over the same story twice. I'll unpack the story word for word, how you wrote it. And the reason why this really helps you is that nothing gets misconstrued or misunderstood, because those are your words. You wrote them down. And I would advise people to take a little bit of time in writing your story. People that write their story from their iPhone or their phone, sit down at a computer with a keyboard, have a cup of coffee. If that's when you're at, like me, if I'm going to write or I'm going to do anything, the morning for me with a cup of coffee, I'm fresh, my brain's alert. That's a good time to write your story. If it's at night and that's the kind of person you are, and maybe you have a glass of wine or a cup of tea, whatever, take the time, put it aside, and really write the story. Here's the good part. Most people, once you start, it'll just come out, right? And the value that I have, I don't really know you. I'm not going to judge you. And so you can send the story with me without thinking, oh, Mac's going to not like me or this, that, and the other. I'm objective. I'm non-biased because I don't really know you. It's much more difficult. And I've had this happen recently where I had one of my best friends from high school. You know, we've known each other for over 25 years. Okay. He comes to me for breakup advice, relationship advice. I know his situation. I know it from the get-go. And I had to be honest. In my head, I was like, I was biased. This is a really good friend of mine. It's like family. It's like a brother of mine. And so I could feel myself swayed and a little bit in the advice. And I was on his side more than I usually would be. And what I mean by that, the ultimate level that you can come from as a coach is neutral when you receive the material, because then you can give advice that's honest and direct. All right, so you ready for some stories? We only got 4 on deck. Is this a typo? This was scheduled on Instagram. So let me know if you were able, if you got updated when it came on and you're ready to go. So we got 2 stories on deck. I think the first story is going to be very interesting. It's a little bit longer. And what I want to show people today also, what I did beyond just, I have 2 breakup stories to share. I took some stories where people have written stories in the comments, and how much different it is for me to answer those comments compared to unpacking a full story. So if you're watching this after the live stream is aired, think about this for a moment. Think about how different it is when someone presents me with a small comment and a little question, and how much of an answer I can give you compared to you giving me a full story. Okay, so you're going to see the difference in this episode in this live stream. So to start with, let me give you an example of some of the comments that come in. What do I mean by comments? Comments below YouTube videos. So a lot of times people, for some reason, they want to tell their story in the comments. Maybe because they feel like, oh, some other people in the that watch the video can give them advice. But their stories are usually limited. There's grammar errors. They didn't take a lot of time with them. Again, it's pissing in the wind. You get what you put out. If you sit down, you go to writemac.com, you write your full story in with the intention of me reading it or another coach reading it, you'll get better information back. Okay, and you put all your focus into telling your story correctly and honestly. So here's an example of someone that wrote in the comments of one of the videos recently. She wrote, Coach Mac McCarthy in first part. Hello, me and my boyfriend were on on a LDR for 2 years. We met every 1 to 3 months. So right off the bat, someone has just, and I'm not the grammar police, has just said, screw it. I'm not going to worry about grammar. I'm just going to write this sloppy, and it's going to be a little bit hard to understand, but oh well, it's just going to be quick, right? Me and my boyfriend were on an LDR for 2 years, and we met every 1 to 3 months. If you write your story out, read it once or twice over before you send it into my website, because it counts how well it flows. You'll see in this episode where I show you a story that was well written and it gets better advice. You see where I'm going with this? Again, me and my boyfriend were on an LDR for 2 years. We met every 1 to 3 months. Due to coronavirus, we haven't met for 6 months, and he slowly started acting weird, and he told me he doesn't feel the same way anymore, and he doesn't see a future because we are both in a phase on our lives that we need to focus on our careers. We met in person, and he broke up with me about 2 months ago. I started no contact, but then it's his birthday came. Then its birthday came. That's literally how it was written. And I made a mistake and said that I miss him and other stuff. And he said, that's it, that it's difficult for him too, but he doesn't want to fix anything right now. What do I do now? So basically I just said, from the story you told me, you have to accept a breakup. He said he wants to focus on careers. He has a clear reason of why he broke up with you. That's actually not bad. The fact that you've been together for 2 years and your relationship consisted of meeting meet every 1 to 3 months, it's not a very strong relationship. I'm sorry, that's a news flash for you. That's not a human, natural way of having a long-term relationship. And it might have been good for you and it might have been acceptable for you, but it's not good and acceptable for him long-term. And he's basically saying, look, it's played its way out. Okay. So she responds, I basically said that. Again, I didn't get more details, so I can't give you a more detailed answer. Coach McCarthy, in 2 weeks, he's going to be in graduation ceremony that I'm going to be too. How am I supposed to act? He is the brother of my friend that is graduating, so I'm not sure it will be easy to ignore him. Okay, I don't think you need to ignore him, but I think you need to seriously think about skipping the graduation if it's going to hurt you too much. Secondly, I would seriously consider ignoring him or staying, not crossing paths with him if it's going to hurt you, because he might be saying, oh, we can take a picture together. It's okay, because he sounds very clear and direct. He's okay with breaking up and that he needs to focus on his career and that he would be okay seeing you, but he doesn't want to revisit the relationship. If you can't deal with that, accept that, I have no problem with you either ignoring him or not going to the graduation ceremony. He is the brother of my friend that is graduating, so I'm not sure it'll be easy to ignore him. That's a choice. So you could not go to the graduation, which wouldn't be a big problem because you don't want to cross paths with him because it hurts you. You could wait till this individual is done taking pictures with your friend. And here's the thing, the brother of my friend, how close is this friend? Are you using this conveniently? This is where I would need to know more details on the ins and outs of this relationship. So again, this is a vague story, and you can see the information that I'm giving back is going to be limited. Okay, so are you guys ready for a much longer, more detailed story? Who do we got on deck? We got Oh Johnny, Rob IS, Guardian of the Gate, Roller Girl, Daryl Schwanky. Don't be a victim, Coach Mac. It stuck with me all week. I had a victim mentality, didn't realize it until you obviously pointed it out. Wise words, friend. You said wish words, wise words. It is. And I'll tell you the truth, Daryl. I do the same thing with myself. Stop being a fucking victim. Because we do it, and what are you seeking as a victim? Pity? I mean, no one finds you attractive when you go into victimhood, right? You might get attention, but you don't get people going, oh, this is an attractive individual that I want to get back with. Hell no. Get up off the mat. All right. Hey, Mac, love your channel. And now, just to convey something to everyone that's listening or watching this episode later on, this is a story that's well written. Someone took some time, put it aside. They paid the $25 to have it read, and they're going to get really good feedback from myself. They're going to give tailored advice, and they're going to get the whole thing unpacked. Okay. Here's my story. Hey, Mac, love your channel. Here's my story. I'm 26 and my now ex-girlfriend is 28. Great place to start so I can get an idea, because your age puts some kind of context on where you're at in life. Okay, not exactly, but it helps a bit, right? We were together for just over 5 years. Again, great context to start with. We met at the mall, okay? I was working at a retail store as a manager. She came in to apply for a job. We both felt the attraction instantly. Well, that's the way it should be. I mean, if you long-term relationships that are good and last, they usually start good. Okay. Love at first sight, some would say. This was my first time feeling that. Well, good for you. I don't know if it's love at first sight, but it's a good feeling. It's a strong feeling. And you both have a high level of attraction. And you can feel, this is what's interesting, is if you're honest with yourself, when you meet someone, you can feel if they're attracted to you. That's not cocky or arrogant. And you can feel when things just vibe and just fit into place right away. And it is a good feeling. And it isn't Hollywood. So this doesn't happen every day. This doesn't happen often. And when it does, you need to take advantage of it, ask the individual out, and see where it goes next. I took her resume, then took the number from it and asked her out. We went on our first date 2 days later. Then 2 months later, we lived together. I don't have a problem with that. We decided, since we were dating, that it was better she worked elsewhere. Good idea, dude. That's probably the best move you made. Working together and having a full-time relationship and living together is a lot of entanglements. The amount of people that, if you have a business together or you work together, the minute something goes sour, you don't have a break to catch your breath. And then if you do break up, it gets really dirty. So this was a strong, smart move on your behalf, my friend. She found a job at a local veterinarian as a receptionist. Okay. Great job for her, because she loved pets and hoped to be a vet one day. Okay, you should work at the places that you want to aspire to grow and get bigger at. What I mean by that is there some kind of ladder that you can move up on? So I think that's great. I continued managing at my retail store, but over the years I found the job to be a dead end. I worked retail for years when I was in college, and I tell you this, I never thought of it as a career. I never wanted to get into management. Good life experience, good way to learn how to have good conversations, how to interact with multiple types of people. I've always said retail jobs or things like that, if you want to work on your people skills, great way to start. Long-term as a lifetime manager, most of the people that I saw as lifetime managers, I looked at their body of work, I looked at who they were and where they were at in life, and I said, yeah, no, I don't want to be that. So I applaud you for that, bud. No offense to any retail managers out there, but it's a tough job most of the time. It is a tough job, especially now that probably malls and retail stores are getting slammed by the fact that everyone orders their stuff online. I continue managing my restores for over the years. I found the job to be a dead end. About 2 years ago, I enrolled back in school to get my degree in business. Okay, if you're going to get your degree in business, just know what kind of business you want to get into. Don't just go into school blindly with the sense that like a business degree will just lead to something. You should have an idea of what you want to use that for. I took a more flexible job with Trader Joe's. Interesting said, I love Trader Joe's when I used to live in California. It's a good place to shop, and I had a relative that worked there for years. Trader Joe's is like a, what we would call it, grocery store with a lot of all natural products, things like that. But the people that work there always seem like they're really happy. It seems non-formal. And I've heard other people say the schedule can be quite flexible for people in school. So good for you. The pay was lower, but my girl had just been promoted at her job. So we decided we could handle the rent just fine and maybe just cut back on some outside spending. Okay, if you had that discussion, you're leading with good intentions, you have good communication, good for you. Things were fine the first year, but I did develop a new group of friends from college. And being that I hadn't really lived out those years, I started partying more and hanging out with single friends. Completely natural that if this was 2 years ago, you're 24 years old, you're still young, dumb, and full of you know what. And the idea probably that some of these, when you hang out with other friends, whether it's a new group of friends or of old friends that resurface, you are going to change some of your values. And if your friends look like they're having fun, you're going to go, hey, man, I want to see what that's like. So this is why it's important to share the story, because this little twist and turn, he's telling me this is where things changed in the relationship. And it's not by accident that things changed because he went to a new school, had a new outlook, had new people he was hanging out with that created new behavior and actions. Do you understand where I'm coming from? It was fun and my ex was understanding till one night I didn't make it home. I crashed at a friend's house and woke up with a hickey on my neck. I was still drunk when I woke up. I remember bits and pieces to the night, but not deep details. I knew I had hooked up with a woman at the bar. She was cute and sweet. We talked a lot. I did kiss her, but the rest seems foggy. So this is, again, this is big that when you share these details of your story, sometimes people leave shit like this out and just ask me questions like, oh, why won't my ex come back? Well, this, something like this happening and you're in a deep monogamous relationship, I need to know this part, okay? You need to share this part. You need to be completely upfront because it counts. So first of all, he's saying that he fucked up. He stayed out. He had a hickey, doesn't remember everything. I definitely didn't wake up next to her, so I didn't sleep with her. Well, I mean, that being said, you still weren't at home. She could have left early, so there is a possibility of that. You think you would have known that, depending on how many articles of clothing you had on or whatnot. But the idea that you woke up with a hickey and don't remember a whole lot is not good. It does happen, though. I believe we got grabbed together, and that's where the hickey happened. So I went home the next morning and felt like total crap. So I decided to tell my ex the truth. Dun, 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 dun. I know a lot of people out there are going, you told her the truth? What the hell? She wasn't having it. She said there was no way she could ever trust me and that I was to sleep on the couch all week. I accepted the punishment. We slowly worked things out. Only now she started going out with some friends that were single and suddenly had come home late a few times herself. So do you think this is revenge? I questioned her on it, and she immediately said I had no right to be upset, that she can make a mistake too, and that she's okay with making our relationship more open. Again, this is a well-written story because you're giving me the details of where this relationship's going off the tracks. He writes, this shocked me. I had made a mistake. I was wrong. I paid for it. Well, here's the thing. Sleeping on the couch for 1 week, saying sorry and admitting it, you might think you have paid for it, but the reality is she might have forgave you for a day, a week, but that memory of what happened is going to linger for years. Because when you first told her what happened, it was a shock to her. It hurt her. And so she's probably not going to just let that go. Okay. But I never suggested us having an open relationship. This grossed me out, and I was literally shaking in the hands. At this point, I started to wonder, did you already do something? So I asked her. She replied with a half smile, yes, but only oral. I lost it. She laughed and said she was joking. Well, funny joke to all of us reading this. I didn't think it was funny. She then said, okay, hickeys are okay, right? I said, no. So basically what she's doing is she's playing a game with you where she's got this thing in her back pocket that's a get out of jail free card. And if she wants to screw around or she wants to go out with her friends, and the fact that she's just throwing out there an open relationship idea, this means that she wants to have an open relationship. This means that she's been attracted to other men recently and she's floating it to you. But whether you agree to it or not, she's probably going to explore it at some point, being that she's also in her mid-20s at this point. You said she was 28 now, so I'm saying like 26, 27. Very common. People in their 20s are more likely to stray and more likely to be curious, and they have more options. We didn't talk for the next 2 days, then went out with her friends again. Came home late, so we didn't talk for the next 2 days. So you just left it on that fight. That's interesting. We didn't talk for the next 2 days, then went out with her friends again. Came home late and drunk. This time when she went to bed, I checked her phone. Okay, so if you've never checked her phone before, this is a turning point in your relationship. This means on a scale of 1 to 10, your trust is about a 2 or a 3. And what happens is whether you're right or you're wrong, you don't trust her. And this is going to create situations in the relationship where you're insecure. A guy had been texting her and even sent one photo of him in the mirror in his towel. Okay. I went nuts, woke her up, confronted her, and said, "What's this?" She said, "We can talk in the morning," and she went to the couch. So here's what's really interesting about the symbolism of sleeping on the couch. When you did something wrong, you were on the couch for a week. This comes up and she goes, "Well, I'll go to the couch because that's where we go when we've done naughty stuff." Just saying. In the morning, she said she hadn't done anything, but ever since the hickey, she had felt like our bond was broke and that she started looking at guys differently. Okay. One part here is it sounds like she's being honest with you. She wants an open relationship or she'll move out at the end of the month. Okay. So this is gun to the head negotiations, kneecap theory. If you don't basically, instead of being accountable for the fact that a guy is on her text message in a towel sending her late night messages, she still hasn't confirmed or not confirmed that they've actually hooked up. She's actually saying they haven't done anything, but she'd like an open relationship and she's been looking at guys differently, but she's thrown on there, you have till the end of the month to make a move. I thought about it. I talked to a couple buddies that even said they were jealous. They'd go for it. I just can't play that game. And there's some people out there that go, "Wow, cool, man. Open relationship. I'd love that." I moved out 1 week later, left her a note and said the lease was in her name. She could use the deposit for my end of the last month's rent. Okay, this kind of move at the end, when it comes to money and splitting rent, just make sure that you're not doing something to hurt your ex financially or hurt them moving forward to get their attention. That's playing dirty. And the fact that you want to move out or you don't want to move out, you still got the right thing would be like, well, I'm going to pay my portion of the rent up until I was here. Because if you ever want to revisit things relationship wise, if you have an entanglement of screwing someone over for money, it'll never happen again. And I just think that your money issues and you're dividing the rent is separate than her wanting an open relationship. And you want to be amicable and do the right thing in this situation. So if you feel like that's the right thing, or you felt like that was just a dart you were throwing at her out of anger, I would go back and divide up the money that's owed in the rent in a fair fashion. After reading my note and seeing me gone, she flooded my phone with texts saying she didn't mean it. Would I come back? I didn't respond. I was hot still, and she had some guy sending and she still had some guy sending photos. I told her I had to think about it. Okay, so, a lot of people would say, well, you got the reaction you wanted. She obviously wants you back. She went with an ultimatum. You didn't fold, which a lot of adults with some kind of dignity, the minute you tell an adult, someone that has some kind of confidence and dignity and pride in themselves, that they have to do something, there's a timeline, a lot of people will be like, fuck you. Right? Because they just don't want to be pushed around that way. And so she gives in. This is a point where you could have moved back in, probably had a great intimate night, and probably reworked things out, but you decided to think about it. She said she'd give me till the end of the month to make a decision. Okay, so now she's again giving you a time limit on the idea that she wants you back, but you haven't really clarified if she still wants you back with an open relationship. So this could have just been a knee-jerk reaction to just, oh my God, he really left. See how much better it is to unpack a full story than just a snippet of a question from your 4-year breakup. So a week later, I moved back in as a surprise. I don't know if I don't know if moving in as a surprise is a good idea. I still had the key, so that night when she came home, I had dinner ready. I came out in a towel to sort of let her know I could joke about the guy in the picture. Bit of a weak move in my eyes, but I guess you're saying, like, here's my olive branch. I don't mind that there was a guy in the towel. Bygones are bygones. And she always liked my body. I work out. Well, good for you. Thanks for that little piece. She walks in the door and had a face like she saw a ghost. I knew something was wrong. Then behind her walks the guy that was actually in the pic with the towel. You got to laugh at this stuff, man. This is like a sitcom or something. I was embarrassed, angry, and hurt, obviously. I went to the other room to change. I just unpacked my stuff. So I just left it there. I went back to my buddies to stay at his house. On my way out, I could see the guy smirking at me, and my ex had some sort of sad, sorry face going. I just said, fuck both of you, and walked out. I think a lot of people would have said that. That was 5 days ago. Now she's texting me. She's sorry. She wants to talk, and she didn't think I would come back. So you got a lot of stuff going on here. Bottom line is, if you came back, if you got back together, I think she wants an open relationship. She obviously is interested in exploring, hooking up with other men. The fact that you came back, you thought you thought you were coming back and it would be all good. This is basically PTSD after this moment right here, because you're embarrassed. It was a bit shameful. And, for the guy to see you in that way, it was probably a big puncture to the ego. And at this point, you need time for the smoke to clear. There's no way that you should come back right away on this. And the reason for that would not just be because you're losing out on a long relationship, this, that, and the other. You need to really ask yourself what it is you want. Can you forgive her? Can you overcome the fact that this guy's been in the picture more than once? And most men would say no. If you want an open relationship, you probably could just continue on as friends with benefits. But is that what you really want? I don't think it is. She also is claiming she needs help with rent as she wants to keep the place. So as far as the rent goes, separate the relationship. Separate your feelings of angst and embarrassment and whatnot, and ask yourself, what's fair when it comes to the money part? Okay. You don't screw people over on rent. Okay. Because it's separate than the emotional part of your relationship. I'm not sure I can overcome this, but a part of me does want to let her talk it over with me. If you don't think you can overcome it, what kind of closure are you looking for would be my question. If you do talk it over with her, you still are probably going to go into no contact. You still aren't going to move back in. And you need to take control of that conversation and know what you're trying to get out of it. You're not going to overcome the fact that she's been with this certain guy more than once. The guy was laughing at you in some ways or smirking. She obviously can tell you that she cares about you and wants you back, but at the same time, she can see someone the very next week and bring him back to the house. So what do you really want when you talk it over with her? What are you looking for? To get back with her? For her to apologize? If I was in a live coaching session with you, I'd really want to unpack this part of it. I still think I could forgive. I don't think I could forgive anytime soon. I don't think so either. I don't think most humans could, but I don't want to hate her. Well, that means you still care about her, and that's very common. You can't fight that. I still love her. What should I do? Keep your distance and space for right now. Let her know that you need some time to digest what went down, if you'd like to talk to her at all. If you do want to have a final sit down with her and sort out what's going on with the rent, keep that very business. What I mean by business, keep it to the numbers, keep it as fair as possible, and go, hey, look, I'll help you out with this month's rent, but by next month, if you want to stay in the place, I want my half of the rent deposit. Okay, figure that out so that it's just fair. What should I do? If I don't go for her now, she may really fall for this guy. I don't think that guy's leaving the picture anytime soon. And I don't think she's going to lose track of the fact that you got a hickey a while back. So that was important that you shared that. So if she does screw around, she always is going to throw that in your face. And the fact is, she did want to have an open relationship. She cares about you. She's into you, but she's not all in. And if you can't deal with that, you gotta bail. Do I need to compete to show my love? One website said women want a man that will fight for them. Is this true? So this is one of those statements that makes me cringe sometimes. This idea that you need to fight for a relationship when someone else did something wrong. So do I need to compete to show my love? That's a choice. You could, and I'll tell you what, she'd be damn happy if you did. If you competed for her love, she'd be very happy to see that. She'd be vindicated, validated, and maybe even be bragging to her friends. Okay. And you might get her back in that way. She might go, oh my God, no, I missed you and this and that. But where's your dignity, balls, and pride would be a question to ask yourself, right? Am I going to compete with, you said you were with her for, let's see here, 5 years. Oh, let me compete for you now after having you for 5 years and living together and having a serious monogamous relationship. I wouldn't want to do that. I would say that's more than 2 steps back. You're taking yourself below ground zero. And if you do compete for her and you lose, it's just going to be a huge ego boost or an ego loss. And the fact that some website told you that, when you read that, is that something like where you're like, oh, will this work or not? Or do you agree with it? A lot of times people read this shit on websites and whatnot. Does it vibe with who you are as a person? Okay. Said women want a man that will fight for, of course. I mean, if you watch Hollywood, women love men that fight for them. It's cool. It's a great story. The reality is, where does that leave you? Right? She already said she wants an open relationship, and now you're going to fight and claw and scratch for her. Where's your dignity? Where's your pride as a man? You got to ask yourself, if I do bail on this relationship, if I do move forward, am I capable of meeting someone equal or higher value? Right? I mean, my answer, do I need to compete for it? Hell no. Not if you got some balls. I mean, what are you competing for? She's basically told you she wants an open relationship. She's been caught having some other guy's picture and a towel on her text message. She played it off. She went straight to the couch as if telling you, when you confronted her about having that picture in her phone and she said, we'll talk about it tomorrow, that's when you know she's probably guilty of something. Because if she didn't do something right away, she'd go, oh no, that's fucking Todd from work. And I just saw him at the gym. Like, she'd have a story right away to convey that. I mean, there's not many stories that you could come up with that would be true, probably, that would not be in the, she wouldn't be in trouble about it. But bottom line, when she said, we'll talk about it later, she's in trouble. And then when she said, when she goes to sleep on the couch, she's telling you, yeah, I was a bad girl. I did bad. Okay. You know it. The relationship will never be the same anytime soon. So you need to get in touch with the fact that moving out right now. Secondly, sort out the rent issue. Be as fair as possible. Okay. You don't want to turn this into a bloodbath over money. You guys were together 5 years. Third, take some time away from this. Go on a road trip, do something else, get a live coaching session with myself to fully unpack this a bit more. It's going to hurt. It's going to take some time. But you going right back into this, I'll tell you what, she's going to have a leash and a collar around your neck, buddy. So I hope that helps you. That's one story that we unpacked so far. We'll get into one more. Let me check in with the live stream real quick. And as you can see, it's much different to unpack a full story than just have a quick question. So, yep game, or she just didn't want to sleep in the same bed with him. What's up, Tommy Willis? Zuki, how you doing? Alex Robinson, always a pleasure. Roller Girl, oh boy, he needs to let this one go. LOL, way too much drama. Doesn't seem worth it. Love yourself more. A lot to chew on there. And what I would add to all this is that's the value in writing the story out, because sometimes you're not seeing the whole picture and you're just going on immediate feelings, loneliness, fear, loss. And when I unpack something like this and read it out, it becomes much more clear where you are coming from, where you're wrong. So I got one more story. Coach Mac, what's up, homie? Thanks for your take in advance. Well, thank you for saying thank you. I'm 21 and my ex is 23. We've been together 2 years and it's been special. Well, I hope so. 2-year relationship should be special. No real fights, lots of lovemaking. Well, I like the second part. No real fights sometimes is a red flag. Like, you should have a little bit of fighting going on, I think. I mean, the first 2 years is the honeymoon phase, but like someone should have an opinion about things once in a while. You shouldn't fight all the time. But what I would say is very healthy is to have a fight or two and you reconcile. You don't hold shit. And someone doesn't feel like they totally lost every time. We were each other's first love. Okay, that explains a lot. And we both are a part of each other's family. So that's a deeper bond. Congratulations, because that's not always the case, but it definitely helps a relationship. His family just adores me, says you. He's still in college for another year, and I just got a job overseas that really felt like I had to take it. Okay, so this is a really well-written story. Gives me a lot of background information on where she's at and where she's headed. He begged me not to, but then said, go for it and we can make it work. Well, because he probably knows deep down inside you're a catch, and the longer that you're alone and without him, that you might get wandering eyes, and it's going to be tough to keep the relationship going. Upon moving, I immediately enjoyed the freedom of not having a full-time relationship, no one to check in on, no one to plan my time around. I loved my ex, but this just felt good. Well, don't fight the feeling, as the great Too Short said. You say you're 21 years old, okay? Wow, and you already graduated college and are going somewhere else? Jeez, you're a high achiever. So the idea that you had a great relationship and whatnot, you got to ask yourself, your early 20s, is this going to be the last person you're ever with? I think a lot of people in the 21st century would say no in about a millisecond, even if they love the individual. And if this is your first time being free and outside and new surroundings, new environment, you're going to get curious. And at 21 years old, you're probably at the height of your promiscuous stage of life. I didn't want to break up, but I did share how nice the space has been. He erupted and said he misses me so much. So part of this is environment based. I don't know where he's at or where he lives, and the fact that you got to move somewhere. So he's still in college. I just got a job overseas that really felt like I had to take it. So you moved overseas. Obviously, if you moved overseas, it had to be someplace desirable, right? Because you wouldn't make that move to someplace undesirable. I don't believe. So going into a brand new environment for a lot of people, especially in your early 20s, can be exciting. He erupted and said he misses me so much. I guess I do miss him, but not so much. Well, let's just be honest, right? I've already found a new group of friends to work to hang out with, and I've taken some photos of us, and they've hit social media. My ex saw them, and this is what led to our breakup. Well, I'm not surprised. I didn't do anything wrong. He just assumed, and a good-looking guy that I work with, and I took a couple photos, and he just assumed that a good-looking guy. So this is written kind of weird. He just assumed that a good-looking guy that I work with and took a couple photos with had been hooking up with me. I haven't done nothing wrong. Maybe some light flirting, but that's okay in my book. Okay, well, the idea that the guy's good-looking, your words, you work with him, so you spend time with him. You took pictures with him, so you obviously are proud to be with him. And you're admitting to some light flirting, which is okay with you, but you live overseas. So this all adds up to a shit sandwich for your boyfriend to chew on as he's looking at social media, being a little paranoid, and most men would. This is his first experience with long distance relationship, and right now you're in a situation where you care less. So to you, if it bothers him, you're kind of like, well, it's just this, it's just that. But he's in a place where he still misses you, adores you. His environment and his friends haven't changed. And he's thinking, why don't you call me every day? Bottom line, this isn't going to work. So being that it's COVID, he couldn't catch a flight to see me. So he wrote me some long dramatic emails saying how he wanted to marry me and have kids with me. It's called overcompensating, highly unattractive. I was thrown off and told him so. He said he bought the ring. That's when I stopped him and said, let's take a break. What is this when people do this, let's take a break? You either break up or you don't. Since then, he's been emailing me and calling me over and over again. My attraction is at a 0 right now. I feel bad, but I can't do this any longer. So this is a great example of the reality on the other side when a guy believes somehow by calling over and over again or declaring deeper and harder love that it's somehow going to switch the tables and get your girlfriend to like you or be more attracted to you more. It's actually counterintuitive. So my question, how do I end this so he doesn't hate me? Well, you've already called him your ex. So you're already, I loved my ex. It was written up here. So you already kind of, when you say you took a break, you're calling him your ex. So you're already there. How do I do this so he doesn't hate me? Is there any way to break up long distance that's smoother? I just feel so bad. Any suggestions from the live streams? Thank you, coach. I would say that if his feelings are that big and that high, that you definitely need to be honest and upfront and cut off contact. I think any contact that you give him at this point, he's going to feel like it's a chance and that you could get together in the future. And so you're actually doing him a disservice by entertaining his text messages and whatnot. You got to be upfront and go, look, right now where I'm at in life, I don't want to get married, but I'm flattered. And I do care about you. And if you still love him, you might want to say that. But bottom line is, I don't want to have a long-term relationship while I'm overseas and you're over there. And I can't do this in a way that serves you and serves me. I don't want you to write that exact thing, but something to that effect, a declaration speech or saying that shows exactly how you feel, all honesty, all cards out. And then if he can't handle it, go, look, you need to cut off contact. And cutting off contact is going to hurt him. But it also is one of those things, it's going to also convey to him that there's not a chance, right? That you're not going to maybe get back together, that you're done. And maybe when you move back or he moves back or the circumstances change, maybe down the road you can revisit things, but not anytime soon. I think you agree with that. And the fact that you took pictures with some guy that you think is okay to flirt with, that's your prerogative. You're already lining up other guys that you could hook up with, potential candidates to be your boyfriend. That's not fair to a guy that wants to marry you. So cut off contact, not because you want to hurt him, but because it's what's best for both of you to move on. And before you cut off contact, let him know how you feel and how much you care about him and the reason why you're going to do that. So I hope that helps. Anyone from the live stream that has something they want to add, go for it. What's up, Henry G, SMS Productions? How you doing, Mike? Love yourself more. Sure. So what I do have is a couple. So those are a couple stories that were well written, detail oriented. If you have a story you want to share, please visit writemac.com. Send your story in. Could give you my take in a YouTube video. That's $25. If you want to do a live coaching session with myself for 1 hour or 2 hours, that's also available. We can talk on FaceTime or Skype and fully unpack your breakup. The live coaching sessions are the best way to go about it because it's interactive and we can really get to the bottom of things. And people will always say, wow, I feel a lot better, because what you're doing a lot of times with your breakup and your story is you're not really clear on what happened and you're jumping around. So there's no sequence. And you might just tell your friend, oh my God, I miss her so much. I don't know what to do. Well, that's not coming to the conclusion of why you miss her. Isn't even approachable? Are you doing the right things? These are all things I'll go over with you. And if you don't find it useful or helpful moving forward, I'll give you a full refund. I stand by that. So here's some random comments people leave in my YouTube videos where they ask questions. We're almost 2 weeks into no contact, and I'm just wondering when she's going to text me. I feel like me wanting my stuff back is just an excuse for me to text her, given that I don't really need my stuff back right now. So someone sends me this question. We're almost 2 weeks into no contact, and I'm just wondering when she's going to text me. What's my response? Send your story into writemac.com and let me give you a tailored response. I can't do anything with a question like this. We're almost 2 weeks into no contact, wondering when she's going to text me. Stop wondering, wishing, and hoping. Get back on deck and do you. I know she still loves me, but she doesn't want to fix it anymore. What do I do? I still love her and I miss her. That's a question I got. See how different that is than writing out a full story and unpacking it? I mean, does anyone see the difference that's been on this live stream? I know she still loves me, but she doesn't want to fix it anymore. Fix what? So what was so the question would be, what happened in your breakup? How long have you been together? How old are you? What's the problems? What needs to be fixed? And then I can tell you what to maybe do as a suggestion. I still love her and I miss her. Okay, so why do you love her and miss her still? I mean, without any of those details, how do I give you any answers? Be direct with other party and be blunt is my advice, and don't contact them. Yep, I agree, Henry G. Does anyone have any questions? I kind of went on a long story mission today where we just unpacked a breakup story. I will be back on deck same time tomorrow to unpack 2 more breakup stories. Does anyone have a topic that they want me to touch on? This is obviously not the most popular topic because we had less viewers today. Any topic for a future live stream that you'd like me to touch on? Nope. Gone. Maybe the notion of gaslighting. What does gaslighting mean to you, Rob? To me, gaslighting is a very new term. So what do you mean by it? Which is being talked about a lot lately, it seems. Okay, so I'm familiar with that. Other people talk about, but I'm curious, in Rob's opinion, what does it mean, the notion of gaslighting? Basically, someone manipulating someone with a lie and trying to convince them it's true. This probably has more precise definition. I can look it up. No, I think you're right from what I've heard from other people. What I would want is more people to give me examples of what that is in a story. The idea that someone puts a label like gaslighting to a situation like that is actually not helpful. Nothing to your point, Rob, nothing personal. See, we have these terms like gaslighting. Then someone goes, yeah, they were gaslighting me. Kind of like they did this to me. It's like, well, if anyone ever manipulates you, you got to take a step back and go, where's my power? Now that I know that they manipulate me and they're this type of person, my power is to get away from them. My power is to disentangle myself from their web, right? And instead of going around and telling everyone, this person gaslit me, this is what they did to me. Victim, 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 victim. Gaslighting is also insulting. Then they get mad when you stand up for yourself. Well, with someone that's gaslighting you, the best response to me would be to cut them out, to eliminate them, because they're probably not going to change that behavior. They're running a playbook where somehow it's worked for them before. And so the idea that you're playing into their game with that playbook by your reaction of standing up for yourself or fighting back, the reality is if someone does that enough, you know what? Don't put them in your presence. If you value your time, don't play games. Some games can be fun, but you got to know the games that you don't really want to play. Yeah, I don't want to play that game. Thank you. It was like, I'm one of those people, I consider myself playful. I like to joke around, things like that. But there are moments where you're like, yeah, I don't want to play that game. There was a guy, I was at this restaurant and bar a while back, and it's a place that I've been to before, and I've met some other people that hang out there and stuff like that. And so the bar's kind of open. And so people can have a conversation from across the bar. And this guy was just really sarcastic, which I like sarcasm and whatnot, but he was just trying to be really cool. He was really trying hard. And I'd met him before, and I'm like, I've met you before. And I said, you do this job and you work at this place. And then he goes, maybe. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to play this game. Thanks, bud. It's like, what are you trying to be mysterious with me or something? Like, I'm telling you, I've met you before, and you're telling everyone you're this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I've met you before. You work at this place and you do this kind of work. Maybe. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm not going to play this game. Thanks. What is this crap, right? Yep, gray rock or go away if they aren't listening. Gray rock. I don't know what gray rock even means. What is that? So if you'd like to send your story in, go to writemac.com. If not, that's fine. If you want to visit me at my Instagram, I'll have the schedule for next week put up, and also Any closing questions? I got about 2 minutes. 2 minutes here. Any closing questions? Gray rock means so not give them any attention. Wow, I've never heard the term gray rock. Thanks for introducing me to that, roller girl. Don't be a victim. I'm happy that helped you out this week, Daryl. I actually come back to that myself. No positive or negative attention. That's a stoic, right? That's neutral. I mean, if you think about it, right, a spoiled brat kid is trying to push your buttons by crying and screaming and yelling, and somehow that will get them what they want. Maybe a treat, maybe the toy they want. And the reality is, what do you do? Do you give them the treat to shut them up, or do you negotiate with them? Do you ignore them? Tell them to go to their room? Do you take control of the situation? Man, talked to my ex a month ago. Then she got her new dude involved because he hates that she would talk to me. I feel sorry for the kid. Well, that's a lot in a few sentences there. Well, if it's not your kid, it's not your responsibility at this point. Most most guys would not like their girlfriend talking to their ex, so that's not uncommon. All right, folks, it's curtains. Let me know if you have a live stream that you want me to touch on. If you remember last week, I told you I was hanging around with my ex. Yes, I do, Zuki. I remember you. My ex supposedly she was broken. She was broken up. She went and begged him again, and back with the ex again. Well, I remember from our live coaching situation, she was a piece of work, and she probably still is. And I told you before, you have a choice with that one. You can continue on with that relationship the way it was, or you can move forward and see if you can. And she was manipulative too. You had already been dating a couple other women though, so curious about that, Zuki. Maybe the next time you're on, or you want to send me an email about it. Thanks, Coach. I'm moving forward. That's it. That's it. That's it. Get up off the mat, dude. Don't be a victim. Don't be a victim. Good to hear from you though, bud. I remember you, Colorado's finest. All right, bud. Take it easy. Curtains.